Hello and welcome to the Encore Offstage podcast with me, Ben.
And me, Adam. I'm
Yay!
Yay!
Finally got out that podcast cupboard. Oh,
I was looking for a long time, Ben. I don't know what
wow.
I was right. No, what? You didn't come and help me
Three
though, did you?
episodes. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. But that has been three episodes. Nearly 4 weeks, Adam,
I know.
since you've been here on the
I
podcast.
was lonely.
Oh,
I was
that's
really
so
lonely.
sad. But you got out. How did you manage to get out in the end?
Well, I managed because I hadn't eaten for a long time.
Mm.
I got thin enough that I was able to slide out the gap in the door.
Okay.
You know?
Like Flat Stanley.
Yeah, Flat
Yeah.
Stanley. Yeah, exactly.
It's a blast from the past. Wow. For old. Brilliant. So you're back. You're joining us.
I am.
Episode 9, Adam, as well. By the way,
Not
can I point out episode 9? We're
9.
nearly there. We've got one more, and then we're done. We've done season 1. We've done
Woohoo!
10 weeks of this.
That's good though. That's to say we've done 9 episodes. Well, you've done 9 episodes. It's really good.
Well, we both missed a couple here and there,
Yeah.
but we're finally both back in the same room, and well, not the same room, same virtual room.
I'm looking forward to when we can get in the same room.
Yes, that'll be nice. Hopefully, in the future, we'll be able to get together.
Maybe for season 2. Maybe for season 2.
Hopefully, who knows? Well, I think we should start this week, Adam, with a bit of a theatre question. Now, I'm going to ask you a question that me and Lucy answered a couple of weeks ago on the podcast.
Right.
And it's, can you tell us any theatre fail stories?
Fail.
Fails. I'm sure in your long and illustrious career on the stage, many things have gone horribly wrong.
Well, you're either insinuating that there have been in a lot of things, or that when I'm on stage, lots of things go wrong.
I couldn't possibly insinuate either way, Adam.
One way or the other, could you? No, of course not.
Not at all.
Fails. Fine fails. What? Just things that have gone wrong.
I think so, but yeah, funny things that have gone wrong, things that have the things where you have to improv for a couple of minutes to cover it, and you have that really awkward moment of, oh God, right, let's carry on.
Oh, there's loads of those. How long have we got?
I mean, as long as we need.
Okay, right. I'll give you the first one. So, first one I remember that springs to mind is I was doing West Side Story, and I was playing Bernardo, and for those that don't know, if you don't know, why? Between the Sharks and the Jets, between Bernardo and the leader of the Jets, and my character pulls a knife out of his pocket, and there's a knife involved in this fight. Well, for a long time, Now, this fight was very physically demanding. I will say that, right? I was a lot fitter back then, right? It involved jumping, it involved kicks, it involved all sorts of things, right? And a couple of things happened. I pulled this knife out of my pocket, and I got a bit cocky with this knife because I threw it into my hand. From one hand to the other, I was like, oh, I didn't expect to do that. And I got really cocky, so I thought I'd do it again. So as I did, I miscaught it, right? It popped out of my hand, slid across the stage and into the orchestra pit.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I remember the pianist, Charlotte, was there at one point, and she's playing away, because, of course, you can't stop the music in West Side Story, because it's all... And she's looking at me as if to say, no, sorry, can't help you, I'm still playing. I can't even pick it up for you. So I was like, what am I going to do? Because it was really integral to the plot that this knife.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Right? I turn around, and one of my sharks had accidentally picked up a spare knife from the props table and put it in his pocket. So, right. So what he'd done, I turn round, and this guy goes, Bernardo, and he passes me this spare knife, just by chance. Right? So we're like, okay, cool. That was the start of the week. At the end of the week, right, during the matinee of all things, same bit happened, right? The guy kicks my hand, and he's supposed to knock me over, right? But what he did He kicked my hand, and the knife flew out of my hand over the orchestra pit into the audience.
Oh God.
Bear in mind, it's a plastic knife.
Yeah.
But everybody on stage, all eyes followed this knife as it flew across the stage and landed in the arm. But I turn around and go, knife! And of course, based on the incident earlier on in the week, all the sharks in my gang had all picked up spare knives, and they all had 2 each. So there's all of a sudden, vroom, and everybody pulls out 2 knives each. That was brilliant. That was a good one.
Oh, that's great.
There was that one. What else was there? There was the friend of mine, Vic. Bless him. He's been doing acting since he was like 17, and he's 80 now. And he we did a play. We did Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Mm-hmm.
And Vic was notorious for talking. Absolutely notorious for talking. Right. And the way that this play was set up was one half of the stage was the laboratory, and the other half was the sitting room.
Yeah.
Right. With a split wall, so you could see through the wall.
Yeah.
And there's a scene going on in the laboratory, and we're all waiting off stage, to come on for the next scene. And Vic's there talking away, talking to somebody in the wings when he's not supposed to. And I jokingly went, Vic, you're on. He went, oh, okay. And he walks on stage. Right,
no.
Onto the side where it's dark, and he walked on stage. No word of a lie. He walked on stage, sat down in the armchair, looked at the audience, realised he wasn't supposed to be there, stood back up, walked straight back off again. And it was the funniest thing I've seen in years. And the guy who's playing Jekyll, he's halfway through this scene, and out the corner of his eye, you can see someone come on stage, and he's like, what was that all about? Oh, okay, carry on. And he comes off stage and just swearing that he started pursuing. I was like, well, you should have been paying attention, Vic. Should have been paying attention. What was the other one? There was one other one. Oh, another one with Vic. Another one.
Of course.
The only person I know to improvise Shakespeare.
Oh my God. Okay.
We did Midsummer Night's Dream, and he played. Right.
Sorry, did you play? I missed that.
He played Theseus.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And we're there in this scene, and we're all drinking champagne. It's the scene before the play within the play.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So all the magic and everything's happened and everything else, and Theseus comes on, and he's basically saying, we're going to have a play, we're going to have this celebration.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you can physically see the words fly out of his head as to what he's supposed to say next. Physically see it. Right? And we're all there with our champagne glasses, and we're like, oh, bugger, he's forgotten his lines. We, twixt our thing and the other thing. And then all of a sudden it came back to him as what he was supposed to say. And we stood there on stage, and we're looking at each other as say, has he just got away with that? He just got, and the audience is like, oh, that was amazing. That was wonderful. Absolutely brilliant. They did not know he'd forgotten his lines.
Wow.
I know.
That's amazing. There are people who are paid to improvise Shakespeare on tours that you can barely get a ticket for.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Just the way he went, we, twixt our thing and the other thing. And then he just came back. I was just like, I'm pretty sure Shakespeare would be spinning in his grave.
Yeah.
Somebody going thing and our other thing.
I mean, more for the audience not picking up on that they completely improvised.
Yeah. There was a fail. It was a bit dangerous one, actually. Couple more stories for you. The very, very, very first theatrical production I was involved with, and that was My Fair Lady at the Playhouse in Nottingham.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the call boy, which for those of you who don't know is the person who stands at the side of the stage, runs around, gets people on stage for the right time. And they're in the middle of a I could have danced all night, or whatever it was. And all of a sudden, over the tunnel, you hear, ah! And I'm like, what was that? And all of a sudden, the music stops. I'll never forget it. And it would get, as I say, first ever production. And then everybody's running to the stage past me. I'm like, what the hell's happened? We get up the stage, and what's happened is there's a full set with a staircase going up, right? It's about 8 feet high, must be at least.
Oh God, okay.
What have we done? The maid's supposed to leave the room, Okay. And through this door at the top and what they hadn't done is they've not remembered to put the staircase at the back of the set.
No.
So what happened was, and it's horrible to laugh at. It's horrible because stop laughing. It's horrible. It was. So they open the door, and Lindsay, bless her heart, she walks out this door, and there's no staircase there, and she just falls straight to the stage. And
Oh my God.
I know. And bless her, after that, she got ever such bad vertigo after that. She couldn't even stand, she was struggling to stand on tables and things. It was, stop laughing, Ben. It's not
I'm not laughing at all.
It's not funny, okay? And it was very, very scary.
Yeah.
As you can imagine. And what was the one I was going to say? Oh, yes, the one, Sweeney Todd.
Mm-hmm.
Sweeney Todd. Anybody that knows Sweeney Todd, the barber's chair, is an absolute death trap.
Yeah.
Right? Because it involves a slide, it involves a trap door, it involves people going down and trusting that there's people down there below.
Yeah.
Right? We did the technical rehearsal. We got in for the theatre, and this box, I'll describe it as a box, was about 6 foot by 6 foot. Okay. And the
coffin then.
Pretty much.
Good.
6 foot by 6 foot. It was about 8 foot high. Okay.
Yeah.
So on top, it was 6 foot square. And we're there, and I get up on top of this thing and I'm thinking, this is not very safe. There's not even a guardrail to hang on to.
Oh, God.
Right? And I have control of the chair to turn it into a slide.
Yeah.
Right? So we're trying out this chair, and this girl, she goes, I'll have a go. Okay. And this trap, what happens is I had to stamp on the floor 3 times.
Yeah.
And there's 2 people underneath me who open the trap door, and I literally it opens like it's with gravity.
Yeah.
Right, so it goes bang, and you can't see down. It's just pitch black.
Right.
There's no lights inside, so you're basically descending into darkness.
Yeah.
And I said to this girl, lean back. Whatever you do, do not look down. Do not look down. Lean back as far as you can, and just keep your head back. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll go count to 3. 1, 3, I pull the handle, and she looks forward as she goes down, right? As she does so, she catches a nose on the edge of the trapdoor as she goes down.
Oh, God.
And she comes out the bottom, and she's blood everywhere, bless her. But she carried on. She went to hospital that day. She carried on with the show for the rest of the week. And later on the same day, this is why I say I'm petrified. I love the show. I've done the show 3 times, but anytime it involves the chair, I just panic, right? And then the same day, we're doing a scene, and Emily, bless her heart, she was playing the beggar woman. She gets on this chair, and the idea was that something happens to her, and she goes down the trap door. And I lean forward, and I catch the handle of the chair slide with my stomach. So the chair automatically goes into a slide. So she slides down onto the top. So she looked like she's just flat on the floor.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, oh, okay. I go down, I reach down to grab her, and then all of a sudden she disappeared. And what she'd done, she slid on top of the trap door because they'd heard the guys underneath couldn't see what was going on. They'd heard the chair go.
Yeah.
They thought they were late. So they opened the trap door with her laying on top of it. And she went double. She went flat, up like that. And
oh,
straight,
my God.
And she went straight down. Stop laughing. And she went straight. And what we didn't realise at the time, and she didn't tell anybody, was that she was pregnant at the time.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, she was fine.
Okay.
She was fine. She was perfectly okay. But it was one of these things where twice in the same day,
Yeah.
something happened, and you're like, thank God it wasn't in front of an audience,
Mm.
but also thank God everybody was okay.
Yeah.
But those are the more serious ones. But there's loads of things that go wrong, and you just go, oh, that's bits and pieces you have to improvise. So yeah, loads of them. I don't think I've seen many in that I've seen in a performance that I've not been in, unless they've been hidden really well.
Mm.
But there's been loads of times when people have tried to put people off.
Yeah.
There was a play I did called Humble Boy, and I'm supposed to look in the top of this beehive. The bees have gone. What I didn't know, as I looked in the top of this beehive, the stage crew have put a giant spider inside.
Oh God.
Right. And I'm petrified of spiders.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd got my back away from the audience, and okay, put the lid down and carry on. Of course, they're wetting themselves in the wings.
Yeah.
But all sorts of things happen.
I mean, with that, with Dibley, when I was doing sound control for that, I had control of a doorbell sound effect that was meant to break up a kiss that was on stage kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And these two, they absolutely hated the on-stage kiss, didn't they? They really disliked it.
They didn't hate it. It was more they didn't have they were like, let's just get it done and we'll just do what we can with it. And,
yeah. And every night I left it just that little bit longer before I pressed the doorbell. And it did get to a point where they ended up coming to me after the show and just going, don't do that again. Just don't. Just. I was like, oh, I can push it a bit further. Like, no, we're not having that. But I can't think. I've never really had any theatre fails. We talked about one I've had in the other episode of a sort of a wardrobe fail. But I've always been pretty plain sailing. I've had a mic pack explode on me and things, but never anything major.
Oh, there's loads. Wardrobe malfunctions. I've split trousers on stage before. I've slid on my knees in wearing knee-high stockings, and that on a wooden floor. And of course, I got carpet burn.
Yeah.
So my knees I'd got bloody knees all the whole rest of the week.
Oh God.
I was supposed to be prisoner, and I got my hands tied behind my back, and they pushed me on my face. So then I couldn't get up. I said I was there on stage going, I can't get up, and they're like, oh, and they had to lift me, and I wasn't, and I'm not a small guy, so they had to lift me up, and they couldn't do it on their own. Had the people not coming on when they're supposed to be coming on. That happened in Dibley. Somebody was in the dressing room when they were supposed to come on stage. I've never seen a pensioner so fast in their life. That was Terry. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had people coming in through the wrong entrances, which also happened in Dibley.
Yeah, there was one. Was it in Melbourne when there was the wrong side?
That was it. Angela Bassett comes through the window.
Yeah.
It was like the play that goes wrong. All of a sudden, we're looking around for her, and it's like, where's she gone? She comes through the window that we're supposed to be opening, and it's like, oh, and I laughed. I was laughing because, I looked at Duncan, who was playing Owen, and we both started laughing because we were just like, it's the last night, and we're not bothered anymore. It's like, it's like literally half a page away from the end of the show.
Yeah.
I
remember there was quite a lot of you laughing in that one. And hiding it. I remember, I thought that's the show that I've recognised your tells from. I know when you're going to start corpsing now, because I know what you do.
No, I'm awful for corpsing. I am awful for corpsing. I cannot control myself. I just find things funny. And especially if it's somebody else when it's not intended.
Yeah.
It's like we did the producers last year. And somebody's Hitler moustache fell off the stage halfway through a scene. And nobody else laughed, but I'm stood at the back of the set, and I'm looking down, and the audience can see me because they've seen it.
Yeah.
Looking at me because they know I'm just looking at the table, just trying not to look at anybody in the eye, because I know that if I do, I'm just going to start laughing.
Yeah.
and there's somebody forcibly trying to make me look at them in the eye so that I laugh. And I'm like, oh, don't do that to me, Kevin. Don't do that. But no, there's loads of things. And I think that's one of the best things about theatre is when things go wrong. Obviously, if it's drastically wrong, it's a bit stressful. But when it's slightly wrong,
Yeah.
like word mix-ups or
Yeah.
wardrobe malfunctions or props that have been forgotten or lost. Not forgotten, not lost. You know what I mean? Just you forget to bring them on, or somebody comes on when they're not supposed to, and it's like, oh, okay, you're not on yet.
I know Lucy said last week. She said we did a show together earlier this year, actually, just before the lockdown, where she had to enter with a backpack on.
Yeah.
And unpack this backpack throughout the scene. And the first show, she completely forgot a backpack. And did a whole 5 minutes of this, just her on stage, her meant to be unpacking it and getting it ready. She just had to sort of make up the whole thing because she just didn't have this backpack on. But she said to me, she walks on with her hands like she was holding a backpack, pulling the backpack on because she'd left it off set. Yeah.
Oh. Brilliant. Yeah, so loads of fire. And again, I've got loads of stories like that, but they're just a select few that I can think of.
We're going to have to come back to this at some point in the future.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
You've got loads.
Tons.
Yeah, that's been great. Well, thank you for that. And I think now it's time to move on to a quiz, which scares us slightly. Now, we haven't been together for quite some time, but last week I was asking Lucy the questions. So this week, it's your turn to ask me the questions.
Okay. Well, last time I saw you, I said to you, I've got a play-themed quiz.
Yes, and that worries me immensely.
Don't worry too much. Now, I found it, and this is actually really quite hard. Okay? Good. So don't worry. Don't worry. I found this difficult. Okay?
Okay.
So you'll have no problem. So, what I'm going to do, this is the play quotations quiz. Now, I'm not expecting you to name a line from a random play. Okay.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you 10 quotes. I'm going to give you 10 quotes, and I'm going to give you 2 possible answers.
Okay.
Okay. So, for example, if I were to do something like, no, yes, was that said by Jim in Vicar of Dibley or Romeo in Romeo and Juliet?
I think I'd say Jim in Vicar of Dibley, but I'm not quite sure.
Bear in mind that. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Good.
I'm ready.
Okay. First quote. Karl Marx should be a set book for the 6th. I'll say it again. Karl Marx should be a set book for the 6th. Now, was that said by Darryl in 6th form at Mallory Towers or Tommy Judd in Another Country?
Wow.
Say the quote again.
Hard. Yeah, please.
Karl Marx should be a set book for the 6th.
A set book for the 6th. And what are my choices?
Darryl in 6th form at Mallory Towers.
Yeah.
Or Tommy Judd in Another Country.
I mean, I presume it's going to be 6th form at Mallory Towers.
I thought it was that. Apparently, it's Tommy Judd.
What? But it's a set book for the 6th. Therefore,
I know, because there's Another Country set in a boys' boarding school in the 1930s.
Oh, okay.
And Tommy Judd is a communist.
Oh, okay.
There is actually a film adaptation with Colin Firth playing Judd. Yeah.
Ooh, I shall take a look.
Yeah. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Now, what can you do but grab at life with both hands until your fingers are broken? Was that Titus Andronicus in Titus Andronicus or Carol Couturier in Orpheus Descending?
is
What-
going really well.
What can you do but grab at life with both hands until your fingers are broken?
Let's go for the first one.
What, Titus Andronicus?
Yeah.
That's incorrect, I'm afraid. It is Carol Couturier in
Ah,
Ending.
because I totally knew that, didn't I? This
Don't
is
worry,
really hard, Adam.
it's a Tennessee Williams play, Orpheus Descending. And it was made
Okay, yeah.
into a film called The Fugitive Kind in 1960.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? Right, Shakespeare.
Okay, this is where hopefully I'll be okay.
O'er the half world, nature grows weary.
All the half world, nature grows weary.
Grows weary. Now, was that Macbeth in Macbeth or Iago from Othello?
Oh, say it again.
O'er the half world, nature grows weary.
Nature grows weary. Now, okay, I need to know if it's Iago because that's bad. Because I'm studying Othello currently. Yeah, let's go with Macbeth.
You are correct. It is Macbeth.
Oh, phew.
It's part of his famous soliloquy. Is this a dagger I see before me?
Yes, you're right. Now, I never studied Macbeth, but I am studying Othello, so
Oh, that's good.
hopefully, who knows.
Okay. Number 4.
Number
You
4.
enjoying it? I like this one. This is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 4. Justice is very important here. Justice is very important here.
Justice is very important here.
Is that Alfieri in A View from the Bridge or Meg in The Birthday Party?
Ooh, I am gonna say Arthur Miller, A View from the Bridge. But
You are correct.
I am. Woohoo! So that
Just
has
one of the main themes in View from the Bridge, and Alfieri's the lawyer. Alfieri's view of justice and law, and unfortunately, some of the other characters disagree. So he says justice is very important here. So there you go.
Look at that.
Right, Tennessee Williams. Do you know Tennessee Williams?
Not really. It's Streetcar, right?
Pardon?
That's Streetcar Named Desire,
Streetcar,
right?
yeah.
Streetcar.
Misery, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, that all of that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, are you ready for number 5? Living with somebody you love can be lonelier than living in you love doesn't love you. I'll say that again.
Yeah.
Living with somebody you love can be lonelier than living entirely alone when the one you love doesn't love you.
Ooh.
Now, was that Stella
Yeah.
in A Streetcar Named Desire
Yeah.
or Maggie in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof?
Oh God! Now I only know Streetcar. So, what's that? I'm just saying, if it's Stella, then she's. Would Stella say that? Possibly. Yeah, I'm going to go with Stella from Streetcar Named Desire.
I thought it was Stella. Apparently, it's not. It's Maggie in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Because it refers to the main male character's homosexuality in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 6. Okay.
Yeah, this is really hard.
They might have left me my toothbrush. They might have left me my toothbrush. Okay.
Okay.
There are 2. I'll make this a bit easy for you. There are 2 options. Is it Garçon in Huis Clos or Ophelia in Hamlet?
I mean, it's going to be the first one, isn't it?
It is the first one. Well done. See?
Thank you for being nice and easy there.
No worries. It says he enters hell, and basically it says hell is other people. There's this a play known as Huis Clos, but it's also called In Camera, No Exit, No Way Out, and Dead End. There's 5 different titles for the same play.
Oh, of course there are.
Of course there are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
If British now, British.
Okay.
If you can't bear the thought of messing up your nice, tidy soul, you better give up the whole idea of life and become a saint because you'll never make it as a human being.
Okay.
If you can't bear the thought of messing up your nice, tidy soul, you better give up the whole idea of life and become a saint because you'll never make it as a human being. Now, there are two potential answers. One, I'll make it a bit easier for you again. Iago in Othello, or Jimmy in Look Back in Anger.
Look Back in Anger.
Well done. Very good.
Phew.
Yeah.
Oh.
Written by John Osborne. And it's basically Jimmy's a misogynistic, ranting man, and he's trying to escape from his working class prison. Okay. The next one. Okay. How does one drowning man help another drowning man? Okay. How does one drowning man help another drowning man? Is this from Brick in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, or Inspector Gould in An Inspector Calls?
Ooh. That's from Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, isn't it?
It is indeed Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, yes.
Yeah, look at that.
Well done. So again, Tennessee Williams, and it's about Brick, his friend, who he loved, died of alcoholism, and then Brick became an alcoholic too.
Ah.
So he's basically referring to he's ended up in the same situation. We are members of one body.
Inspector Gould and Inspector Calls.
Well done. Very good. And you
Sorry.
finished it,
That is one of the quotes that in GCSE English was rammed into me that I can just straight away. I wrote an entire essay on that quote about socialism.
Would you like to hear the alternative answer you could have had?
Yes.
I was going to say Tallulah from Bugsy Malone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. that known socialist Tallulah from Bugsy Malone.
Final question. Are you ready?
Yes.
The devil is precise. The marks of his presence are definite as stone. I'll say that again.
Yeah.
The devil is precise. The marks of his presence are definite as stone.
Yeah.
Now, was that Reverend Hale in The Crucible, or Charles Condamine in Blithe Spirit?
Now, I have quite recently read The Crucible and performed it.
Yeah.
Who was the character from The Crucible? You just said?
Yeah.
What was the character from The Crucible? You just said?
Reverend Hale.
I'm going to say The Crucible, but I'm not sure.
Well done, it's correct.
Hey!
It's obviously about witchcraft.
Yes.
Good
play. Bit long.
Yeah, but if you do it right, it's good. So,
yes.
Can you remember how many you got? So you got one.
No.
1, 2.
Like 3?
3. You got 4.
Ooh.
5. 6, 7.
7, wow.
I think you got 7.
That's wow. I'm impressed with myself there.
If I got that, I wasn't keeping count. So if not, you'll have to go back to listen to the podcast and listen to the actual answer.
Please tell us how many I got right. Do our job for us, please. Send us a message or an email, because we don't know.
But well done.
Thank you very much.
Really, really hard.
That was a horrible quiz.
It was a horrible quiz, but I'll be honest, you got more answers right than I did.
Wow. I mean, a lot of them were just wild guesses. But,
yeah, that's fine. Hey, if they're guesses, as long as you get them right, that's what matters.
Yeah. Well, that's brilliant. I mean, we have got a quiz up our sleeves for next week, which I will be asking the questions of.
Okay, in which case I better send you the answers to that one then, and I won't remember them.
Ooh, I've got a different one if you want it up here.
Excellent, that's fine.
That was such a good quiz. Thank you. Nearly impossible, but 7 out of 10, or around 7, we don't know, was quite good.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move on to our big discussion. Okay, this week we're going to move on to our big discussion, and we're going to be talking about actors playing stereotypes in performances and how those stereotypes can quite often cause offence.
Yes.
So quite a recent example of this is James Corden in The Prom.
Okay.
In which he's playing the actor Barry Glickman,
okay.
who in The Prom is gay, and Corden has been criticised for his completely over the top, quite offensive gay stereotype in his portrayal. So we're going to talk about today where we sit on this argument, whether or not we think that actors who are from the community that they are portraying should play that character, if that makes sense. So a member of the LGBTQ plus community should be playing that character rather than James Corden doing a bad and offensive stereotype.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So yeah, I'm interested in what your thoughts are. I mean, I haven't seen the Netflix adaptation of The Prom. I'm not sure if you have yet. But I haven't for this reason. For the reason that I've seen clips and things of James Corden's portrayal, and therefore I do not want to watch The Prom as a way of sort of boycotting it, because I don't agree with how it's been portrayed.
Okay. So let's take it back. Let's take it back a step further. Okay. Yeah. Can't talk about this without talking about racial stereotypes as well.
No.
Okay. So obviously let's go even further back. Let's go back to when in Shakespeare's time.
Yes.
When men portrayed women.
Yes.
Boys portrayed women on stage.
Yeah.
That was the culture. That was the way things were. It was believed that, that women didn't into profession. Then we skip forward several hundred years, and theatre obviously progresses, and we have a lot of racial motivated plays, musicals that involve I think minorities.
Yeah.
And actors who are from a particular characters that are from a particular background.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10 they were portrayed by white males or females.
Yes.
I'm going to briefly mention the Black and White Minstrels, which was a performing troupe in the mid 20th century, and some of them were white, and some of them used to, excuse the term, but black up and wear blackface, which now was no longer accepted. It's not seen the right thing to be done. So again, within 50, 70 years, that must be.
Yeah.
And now we've got the situation where we've now got the community, the LGBT community, being portrayed by straight people. Okay, so that's I'm summarising. I'm making the introduction for the point, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to add to that. I mean, it specifically blackface has it's so, unfortunately, it's so common when you look at older plays in particular. You look at Laurence Olivier in Othello in 1965.
Yeah.
He developed an, quote, exotic accent of his own invention, developed a special walk, and learned how to speak in a voice considerably deeper than his normal one, on top of blacking up. And it's just, it's so offensive, that performance, and how even as 65 that was still unacceptable. I just don't understand it personally. It's something I don't get how that was the culture.
But also at the time, what you got to think of is that at that time, it was still very, very taboo to be seen as camp, gay, You know, a lot of actors, when it came to the very late 60s, early 70s, mid 70s, were only just starting to, what's the word? Not build on, but utilize that side of their personality for entertainment purposes. And it was never, ever mentioned, you know, overtly, but there were certain mannerisms that these people had. Let's take, for example, Larry Grayson or John Inman, right? Two very, very funny people that worked on the premise of them being camp. Okay. Now, whether that we now know that John Inman was gay, you know, but at the same time, it's like were they forced to do that? Again, it's like it's also a director's decision and a casting director's decision. Is like, how far do you go to portray that somebody is really, you know, do you use those extra stereotypes or do you not need to use them? I'm getting to around. It's a good discussion because it's so many different things you can talk about. To come to the main point that you've mentioned, again, it's like James Corden obviously went for an audition. They didn't go to James Corden and go, "You can play this part. Let's do it." Right. So he's now been given this part, and he says that he's very proud of his performance.
He does, yes.
And again, it's like it sort of it doesn't help with the. I mean, I'm as a part of the LGBT community myself. It's not one of those things where you go, it doesn't help.
No.
You know, it doesn't help with. Again, I've not seen it. I can't judge it. But again, it's like saying. In any sort of situation, the stereotype is the way to go. It's not the way to go because that's not the way things are. So, but whether a actor from that community could play that to the way that the director or the casting director wanted.
Yeah, I mean, but again, with that, I mean, a lot of the film critics have since come out and who've said with Corden's performance have listed actors from the LGBTQ plus community who could have played it. Nathan Lane, for example, could have, one critic says here, could have easily just taken the role and performed it well. It didn't need someone to play it offensively. I think that's the main point here, is his performance has been deemed highly offensive and he's performing some of the stereotypes associated with that community, and it's just not right. I think
from a point of view, it's like, okay, so what I see is if a straight actor plays a gay part, they feel like they have to be ridiculously flamboyant.
Yes.
They feel like they have to be camp. They feel like they have to make the stereotypes. But is that the character? Or is that... Because, again, I don't know if this is based on a real person.
It's based loose... The prom itself is based loosely on a real story, but to the extent of how true it is.
Right. So James Corden isn't playing a biopic part?
No, he's not. No.
Right. So he's just playing... Let's to use some potentially offensive language, the token gay part.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is.
Which is not on. I mean, as you say, there are lots of LGBT actors out there who could play it just as well. And now that you've mentioned Nathan Lane, I think he'd be perfect for the part.
Absolutely.
But also, again, you got to think. I mean, we are involved in theatre ourselves, and we go, right, okay, we want to do this show. Well, it needs somebody from this community. Do we know somebody from this community? At the same time, it's like you go, well, if we don't know them, it's not right to do it. You know, if we can't get them, we shouldn't do it. But some people persist and carry on and do it, even though it's like, for example, Sister Act.
Yeah.
Sister Act. Most people see Sister Act as a female as a black female.
Yeah.
And the problem is that the script is also written for that.
Mm.
But a lot of societies will still perform it with a lady who's white in the lead.
I think what's interesting about it, it's called colorblind casting, isn't it? I mean, when you look at quite recently, you take two musicals. So take Hamilton, that has come out and says they are a colorblind cast, so anybody from any background can play any of the roles.
Yeah.
Then you take Hairspray, the musical, that's come out, and this creator's come out and said, no, you have to be from that background to play that character because it's integral to the plot. The whole plot is about segregation and overcoming segregation, and therefore you need a white cast and you need a black cast, and you need to separate them throughout the play until the end when it's all about coming back together again.
Yeah.
So to that extent, and I have seen productions of Hairspray online and in person where they have tried to do it with a mixed cast, and it just hasn't worked, and to some extent been quite offensive in its, because it's undermining the reason why Hairspray was written that way.
Yeah.
The really crucial story that Hairspray is telling.
Colorblind casting can work the other way, though. I mean, look at the recent production of Frankenstein from National Theatre. Monsieur Frankenstein is played by a man who is black, even though the rest of the cast and his sons and his children are white. And again, I believe that is based on the talent of the actors.
Yes.
Which is as it should be.
Yes, absolutely.
Counter to that, you've also got the thing you've also got to think about is that a lot of actors and performers, there's still some stigma attached to coming out as gay, bisexual, transgender. Look at Elliot Page, sorry, who recently identified as male. And see, I've already made the slip. I knew I was talking about, but again, that's something that takes time. That's something, again, from something, and again, so I apologise. Yes, it is Elliot Page. But at the same time, the actors don't feel like they should come out. There may be actors out there who are part of the community who don't want to be seen to be playing just those roles. I know. Go on.
What's been quite interesting in Netflix's sort of announcement with Elliot Page identifying as male is that they have said that his character Vanya in the Umbrella Academy will remain female. They've come out and said that.
Okay.
So Elliot Page will be playing Vanya still in the next season of the Umbrella Academy, still playing his female role. So again, that's obviously that's been made as a decision together. They've made that decision. Both Elliot Page and Netflix have made that decision together. But again, I think that opens it up a bit more.
That's the difference, is the discussion.
Absolutely, yeah.
The fact that they've talked about it and they've gone, look, rather than going, without Elliot Page's consent, going, right, we're going to do this. That's when Elliot Page is going to go, no, actually, I don't want to do that. Right? The difficulty with something like At the Prom is that there isn't really that discussion had.
No.
Again, like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, a lot of it is star power. Okay? And I'll tell you somebody who could probably just as well, Neil Patrick Harris.
Absolutely.
Neil Patrick Harris could play, well, popular, if not popular than James Corden, could still play that part.
Yeah.
Okay? And if he wanted to do, again, and he's a very strong advocate for, equality, LGBT rights, etc. And nobody pretends that they're going to get it right 100% of the time.
No.
We all still make mistakes. But at the same time, when something is put onto a film and recorded and done out as a project, you have to go, I mean, look at, I've only ever seen the trailer for At the Prom, so I can't judge completely whether I would find it offensive or not. Because, quite frankly, a lot of his presence in the trailer isn't that prominent.
But do you think that is a conscious decision? Do you think he's been sort of bit around so that he's been edited slightly down in the trailer so that it wasn't going to create a media storm prior to release
Possibly.
in December?
Possibly, it's entirely possible. I think that that might. I mean, again, you can edit. You can make a trailer. You could make a trailer for a comedy which looks like a horror film.
Mm.
You know, you can edit a trailer any way you like to do what you want it to do.
I think when you mentioned star power, though, I would say that this film in particular has got Meryl Streep and Nicole Kidman as well.
Is it Andrew Reynolds as well?
I think so. I mean, does it need James Corden to bolster it? No, it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. No. And actually, in quite a lot of, especially in the UK, Corden's a pretty controversial figure. A lot of people don't like him because of the way he sort of defected and went to America. So I think even his casting in the first place was always being twice. He's come up the back of Cats as well, which was hated critically. So why he was cast, I will never know. Especially to play this character who in The Prom, who is it says here, the character is a flamboyant and openly gay Broadway diva, and that is the description of the character in the original musical and in the film. So why casting James Corden in that role doesn't seem to make sense to me.
But then, if somebody can get the character across that the director and the casting director and everybody else wants, do they have to? Again, the difference between people who are black or of certain racial heritage and people that are gay, there's and lesbian and bisexual and transgender and etc. If there's a certain, again, it's that, not a prejudice. When you look at somebody, you don't instantly know that they are of a particular sexuality. Whereas in a racial context, you can instantly see that for a character. Right? To bring up is Jack Whitehall. Jack Whitehall, sorry. Jack Whitehall has been given a role as an openly gay character in a Disney film. And it is the first openly gay character in a Disney film that they have made. Now, Jack Whitehall is naturally camp by his own admission. Yeah. But again, with the film not being out, I've not seen any news about it whatsoever. No. because of coronavirus. It might have stopped production or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think there was a trailer, but I don't think Jack Whitehall was in it.
No.
And I don't know. And again, I wouldn't know based on what has happened. It's a film with The Rock in it, Dwayne Johnson, and again, it's a Disney film, which is extremely from a Disney point of view, they wouldn't normally do it. They wouldn't normally do it because of their inherent values, which is a whole kettle of fish, which we can address at another time.
Which I'm sure we all do.
Yeah. But again, that's another situation. And I think it depends on how it's portrayed as to, because what you run the risk of doing is naturally restricting roles to certain people by virtue of equality, and then therefore, so for example, if somebody goes, oh, if I can only play, I'm straight, therefore I can only play straight roles. I'm gay, therefore I can only play gay roles. And people don't want, but again, should a gay person not play a straight role?
Yeah, I mean, that's the debate, isn't it? It's just so difficult. And I will pick up on actually the fact that you mentioned that Jack Whitehall was the first openly gay Disney character. I believe the 2017 Beauty and the Beast did Josh Gad's character of Fu, Josh Gad did request to portray him openly as an openly gay character, but it's only referenced very briefly towards the end. It's not an integral part of the story.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not an actual part of the character.
No, he did.
Not
No,
something you would necessarily.
no. It just appears briefly. It appears briefly at the end, dancing with another man when they're all dancing in their couples,
Yeah.
and that was the decision that Josh Gad wanted to make himself.
Yeah.
But yes, I think I think it's Jungle Cruise you're talking about, isn't it? With Matt Whitehall. Yeah. And yes, I think that is integral. I think that's going to be a sort of a part of the story a bit more.
Look at Beauty and the Beast. Josh Gad, who is straight,
yes,
plays a gay character. Luke Evans, who is gay, plays a straight character.
Yes.
And it's again what we have to say is what we are concerned about is the stereotype, not the
absolutely not not the portrayal. When the portrayal enters offensive stereotyping, that is what we're talking about. We're not talking in a generalized sort of straight people can play straight characters. We're not talking about that at all. We're just saying.
Look at characters, able-bodied characters who have played disabled characters. All these different communities have fought for rights, fought for recognition, and they've struggled so hard for years and years and years to be on the same footing.
And actually, that's not been quite achieved yet. I think in every case, I don't think there is equality. I don't think that's been achieved in any respect at the moment. And these offensive stereotypes are not helping the situation.
Exactly. This is it. Despite all the fighting that's happened, something like as I say, I haven't seen it, so I can't judge. But if it is offensive, it doesn't do any good. And potentially, someone like James Corden should understand that what he does. But again, a lot of people, they see the money that's being involved, they see it's a film, they see a job, and they go, yeah, let's do it. And I think limited shelf life. I think ever since he did Into the Woods, he's become well known in America. He did his talk show and everything else, and that now possibly is showing the capabilities that he may have. He may not be able to. Again, his range. Look at, for example, Imelda Staunton.
Yeah,
Imelda Staunton, absolutely fantastic actress.
Yeah,
she can do anything, right? Yeah. But I would not place James Corden on the same level as Imelda Staunton.
No.
That is my diplomatic way of saying what I think about James Corden.
Yeah. And if you look at Spitting Image, you'll see their sort of opinion on James Corden is a lot stronger than what we're sort of able to say here.
Yes, exactly.
It's great. Do watch that. There's some great things in there.
I think what we've got to think of is the main points we're getting from this is no offence should be given at all, and that's the main thing. Again, look at Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell?
Yes, I haven't seen Ghost in the Shell.
Scarlett Johansson?
Yes, I do know of it, but I haven't seen it.
Ghost in the Shell is based on an anime, Japanese anime, cartoon series, animation, and it was what they call whitewashed, in the sense that it was diverted away from the Asian market. So Scarlett Johansson played the lead, and again, you're like, why? But at the same time, why not? I mean, that sounds wrong. I've said that wrong. Not that why not, but I can understand that there's a heritage behind it, and there's a feeling behind it. But is that character necessarily Japanese, Chinese, of that heritage? I don't know. I don't know. Whereas James Corden camping it up for the sake of laughs.
Yeah. If you look at a picture of him, he's running around with a scarf around his neck, clicking his fingers, cooking his heels up. He's putting a slurring some of his words. It's just no.
Now, we both know people like that in real life.
Yes, we do.
We both know people like that in real life.
Yeah.
But that is their personality.
Absolutely.
And it's when it's done tastefully and with the point of not, as I say, not making it for laughs. That's when it's important. You can get inherent traits, you can get all this, that, and the other, but if you're going to do it for the sake of a laugh, it's just
And so in the same vein, we both know people from that community who aren't like that at all.
Yeah, straight out.
Yeah. So it's so broad, but again, when as we keep saying, when these stereotype performances cause offence, that's where it sets everything back. It just reaffirms some people's views of that community, and it does more damage than it can do.
Yeah, this is it. This is the problem. I don't think it's something that we're going to be able to fully answer.
No, not at all.
But I think as long as people understand that we have tried as respectfully as possible to, because it is and I don't mean this in a negative way, it is a minefield, because you never want to upset anybody. The intention is not to offend anybody at all. I don't even want to offend James Corden.
No.
If he thinks he's done a good performance, then good on him. But his portrayal may be, and again, it may not be his fault. It may be that he's been directed to do that.
Absolutely.
It may be that, you know, the casting directors were out there going, yeah, this is what we're looking for. Okay? Now, we've all seen projects that have been miscast. We've seen things where we go, they was absolutely wrong for that part.
Yeah.
Yeah? But I agree that this is something that we go away and we go, yeah, let's have a look a little bit more. But again, it hopefully encourages more people to think about it and to go, yeah, what is there is no, I don't know if there is a right answer.
I think what we've tried to do is talk about this and openly in a respectful way as we possibly can. And if anything we've said has caused any offence, we obviously both that's not what we're here to do. We don't mean that anyway. We are here to just talk about one specific event, really. But again, we'd like to hear what our audience think as well. So if you have an opinion on this, and please, if you do, we want to hear different opinions, what we both share, and everything like that. But if you are going to send us anything, keep it respectful, keep it open, and keep it able to, so we can have that discussion with you. And you can, of course, message us on our social platforms, or you can drop us an email at encoreoffstagepod@gmail.com. Yeah,
let us send us what your thoughts are, what community you're from. It might be the disabled community, of a mixed heritage community, LGBT community, any, maybe a religious community. Just let us know what your thoughts are, and we will discuss them. And if you're happy for us to share them on the podcast, we'll happily share them and air them for you.
I think this is something I'd like to revisit in our next season, and something we're going to hopefully dedicate quite a bit of time to. But we'd like to get some people to talk to us about this and with us who feel a bit more qualified, I think, than we do to talk about it. Who might be able to shed more light on it and bring different opinions. So please, get in touch about it. If you, we'd love to have you on, or you can just share your opinions with us on our social medias. But I think that's a good point to leave that discussion, but we will revisit it in the future, definitely. Yes. And I think that actually, Adam, brings us to the end of episode 9.
Oh, it's the end. Don't make me go back in the cupboard.
Unfortunately, I am going to make you go back in the cupboard.
No! All right, okay.
All right, okay.
Make sure you get me out next week.
Next week, we'll let you out, and hopefully next week, we're going to be joined again by Lucy Gazard, who's going to be joining us and making us 3 for our big Panto special.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone who has submitted or is continuing to submit their Panto stories, videos, and all those photos and things. I have quite a few, and we'll be talking through all of them, or as many as we possibly can do. In the next episode, we're going to have some surprises in store for Adam in particular. I've been trawling through some archives, and I cannot wait. So we'll be sharing some pictures of things, and make sure you follow us on social medias, because we're going to be sharing all of these pictures that we have found and stories and things
How much is it
on
going
our social media.
to not let you show these pictures of?
Well, we'll see what you think of them in the next episode. But until then, Adam, off you go into your podcast cupboard.
Okay. I'll see you.
We'll
Bye-bye.
see you next week. Bye, Adam.
Bye-bye.
Bye. 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 Bro, he's gone. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you. We'll both back. Oh, God, he's still shouting. We'll both be back next week. Thank you. You can come out now. Wow. Out the cupboard you come, Adam. Right, let me stop recording.
Out the closet.
Thank you so much for listening to the Encore Offstage podcast. If you fancy, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Encore Offstage Pod.
We also have a YouTube channel where we upload a video version of this podcast, and that's also at the Encore Offstage podcast. Remember, if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a rating or review on your podcast app of choice.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll both be back next week. The Encore Offstage podcast is produced by Ben Bradley and Adam Guest. It is edited by Jack SPOORS and Ben Bradley.